done here with a recurring guest, one of our favorites, Paul Dehner Jr. of The Athletic, and of course, the one and only Bengals podcast that anybody out there should be listening to. Did you change the name, or is it still Hear That Podcast Growling?
We're the Growler. Our independent name is the Growler. Back in the day, when we were under the Athletic purview, we were in the HTPG, but now we just shortened it. We tightened it. Although we have many different episodes with different people that all have different names, which has kind of become a running gag right now. How many different names for shows can we create? But it's all essentially the Growler and Bengals talk, and we have a good time with it.
I like it. It's like that scene in The Social Network when you drop from the Facebook, and it's just you dropped it to the Growler.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Whatever. I'll call it whatever people want, as long as they want to listen and enjoy it. I enjoy doing it, and it's fun to connect with fans that way for sure.
There's no time for pleasantries, Paul. We have
Get them out of here. We don't. This is the Bengals world right now. But there are no pleasantries.
We're all Bengals fans right now because I feel like Jamar Chase locked up, Tee Higgins locked up. The team's putting out like the spike of the football, splice up, celebrating these contracts as they should, right? We're talking about Mike Brown, Paul Brown, Cincinnati Bengals that don't pay a lot of money to players, and here they are shelling out these contracts. And then the offseason kind of trudges along, and you take a closer look at those contracts, and you're like, man, you could have been a little more fungible here. You could have pushed money down the line and maybe signed a linebacker or a corner or a D lineman to win in the now. I mean, there's a point of frustration there probably with fans. And then you have the Trey Hendrickson situation on top of that, where he shows up and talks to you guys as an unhappy mini camper, to say the least.
Yeah.
Are fans excited? I guess. I mean, they should be. You got Joe freaking Burrow. You've got these weapons. He can still just outscore teams. I'm always all in on the Cincinnati Bengals, but I get frustrated because this is a window of opportunity that they're not exactly maximizing right now.
No, are Bengals fans excited? I think I'm not totally sure. So we do our fan survey every year. I actually just posted the results of it today, and we had more people chime in wanting to fill out the survey this year than we've had in the 6 years that we've been doing it. And, anybody that's ever been in the survey world or any kind of research knows there's only a couple of things that drive people. Anger would be number one, and extreme happiness. I want to go tell everybody how happy I am or how mad I am. People that want to go rate something on a scale of 3 out of 5 don't rush to the survey. But I think this year, when you look at where this team was at, what this offseason was, which was a lot of fans felt frustrated and pushed over the edge by the front office and ownership, they came out in droves. And
I think we lost the audio. Can you guys hear Paul?
Hold on.
Oh, we got you now.
Sorry, there's an emergency alert about a missing juvenile in Kentucky that has just blown up my entire phone. I apologize to everyone for that.
That's slightly more important than
I hope we figure out where the missing juvenile in Cub Run is, but I can't get it off my screen, and it's quite frustrating. Can you see and hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we got you now.
Okay, good. So before that happened, sorry, that totally threw me off. My phone just blew up at me with this Amber Alert, and I can't get rid of it. It's an emergency, Tyler. I can't get rid of it.
I have no problem with the.
There we go. Okay, it's gone. All right, I'm back.
Find this guy.
I apologize to your good people, but hopefully we find our friend in Kentucky. So point being, Bengals fans it sounded a lot like that alarm did for me. The alarm was going off, right? They're just over it with the fighting with Shamar Stewart, with Trey Hendrickson, not doing enough in free agency, not winning in the margins. It's like, cool, yes, you did sign Jamar and T, but in an offseason where they did those two big things, they also kind of lost fans' belief in them. Fans see through that. Fans see that you needed to do more than that. This was a super challenging offseason for them. Like for any franchise, when you consider what they were trying to do with Jamar and T and Trey and Gesicki, like and what they needed to do in free agency. They had a defense that was terrible. They had to replace it. They had a stadium lease that was up that they were just trying to work through. They just finished up getting another 10 years here at Paycor Stadium. All of that was on the plate of a front office that, let's just be honest, is small and old school mom and pop. It was a lot on their plate. And I don't think by any stretch, certainly not by the votes of fans, can you say that they aced it. I think they did get the receivers done, and there's a lot of excitement about that. But it's everything else that didn't get done. People are just exhausted by the contract fighting, whether it was with Burrow, whether it was with Jamar last year that caused the problems early in the season. He missed all of camp, whether it's been with Hendrickson every year, the trade requests, the T thing. Like, even when you get it done, there's a resentment and a frustration over the process that fans are really, really beaten up by right now. And I think that showed. So yes, I think they need to be thinking about the team, and I think there should be, and there is excitement about the season. But in terms of looking back at the offseason and where they're kind of at with everything, they're just kind of over all of the BS that has kind of gone on that side.
Which speaks to the intelligence of the fan base, which is a good thing. I mean, you can look at a team like Philadelphia, just chatting with somebody high up in that front office about how Howie Roseman does business, and they're able to manipulate contracts all of the time. I mean, I look at a contract that an Eagle player signs, and I really don't know what to make of it, because it's going to be signing bonuses. It's going to be pushed down the road, and it all starts from the top with Jeffrey Lurie, and he's given that green light. Go win a Super Bowl, go win another Super Bowl, do whatever it takes. So, I mean, it comes from the top in Cincinnati, right? Like, is Mike Brown just not want to spread money around? Not necessarily want to. I mean, he's paying money. Like, we've talked about it, Paul. They're doing things they've never done in franchise history. You know, the naming rights to the stadium, an actual practice facility, paying Joe Burrow. Once upon a time, you wondered if that was even going to happen. I remember Carson Palmer speaking out once upon a time as well, before they even drafted Burrow. So there's been a lot of positive steps toward modernizing the organization. But this is a pretty big step if you're interested in winning. Moving money around. Does it come from the top?
Yeah, I think that, a willingness to do some things contractually that most teams are doing, whatever lever you want to talk about that we see a lot of teams do, they don't. It's the holding on to the dead money champions, like we're going to have the smallest amount of dead money. And I think it's not like there's no value in that. Like I understand their argument of, look, we want to have as much cap dollars on people that are helping our team. Fine. But I think it's proven now the amount of structures that you can do differently to try to take advantage of that. No one's saying they have to be the Eagles. Like, I don't think people are asking for them to come and change 100% their philosophy and who they are and start living the Eagles way or whatever. But it does feel like you, in certain circumstances, need to be stretching in that direction a little bit and show an ability to do multiple things at once, to be able to get the receivers done and knock free agency out and check those boxes. It just felt like stuff was falling through the cracks this offseason because there was so many big things on their plate, and still are. But I think it inevitably comes back to, pushing these contracts the way that they negotiate. And that's not as much a Mike Brown thing, while he's obviously still the head. I mean, Katie and Troy are really, Katie Blackburn and Troy Blackburn are really kind of running all of that operation. And when the way that they operate is, look, almost all of these big contracts always end up going down to the last deadline and seeing who's going to blink first and playing chicken. And we've talked about now how much money that's cost them with Jamar and NT specifically. And, even the Burrow deal went down to the last second. You go all the way back to AJ Green's first contract. They signed it while he was getting on the bus for them to go fly to Oakland for the opener. Like, it's always like this. And when you do that, you build up this resentment. You build up these problems. It came back to bite them last year when they had so much distraction and contract stuff going on, and paying your stars, paying them early, is just not their way. And I think that stuff, being proactive a little bit more. So if we're talking about Hendrickson, it made sense to know what you were going to do before free agency started, and squabbling it out and fighting for every inch up until through camp and causing dissension and distraction now should never have been the answer. You're either in on Trey Hendrickson or you're not. You're trading him for something before free agency and rebuilding that way, or you're going to pay him, right? But fighting it out with Shamar Stewart, battling it out with Jamar Chase last camp. Like, I understand business happens, but it's every year. And that stuff is what's exhausting. Even if some of the end game is, they are getting some deals done. It's the process, I think, is part of the modernization of understanding how that hurts team chemistry, how that hurts the locker room, how that has residual effects over time when all the young players are sitting there saying, well, when my time comes up, what's that fight going to be like? You don't want it to feel that way. And that's kind of the beauty of the Eagles is they feel like the moment they're up, they have an opportunity to go get paid, and they know that that's coming, and that builds, and it makes players love coming to work, play harder, enjoy the environment, appreciate the environment, all of that stuff. And the Bengals way has kind of really cultivated the opposite of that.
Right. You'd love to say business is business, football is football, but it does kind of spill onto the field. You've seen it spill onto the field. All of these slow starts, there's got to be some point A to point B connection here. And Philly is the perfect juxtaposition here for Cincinnati. And we both have talked to Zach Berman. He covers the Eagles regularly, and he explained it to us as well. Like, this goes back for Howie Roseman way back to when he first took over as GM. Right, he's working with Andy Reid. He probably learned it from Andy Reid. Pay guys. If you believe in them, the second they're up for a deal, get it done, because A, it's going to be smart financially, but B, to your point, Paul, it's going to send a good message in that locker room. These players are all seeing who's getting paid, when they're getting paid, how they're getting paid, the mechanisms of all that. They do matter. I mean, they didn't have to pay Saquon Barkley this offseason. They have to do that. But we all saw Saquon Barkley go for $2K. Might have set the record if he played that last game. They win the Super Bowl. They reward him. That goes a long way. And I guess whoever's to blame, it's Cincinnati. They are where they are. So, okay, given the situation, maybe first explain to us, Paul, like we're 8 years old, what's going on right now with Trey Hendrickson? What's going on right now with Shamar Stewart? Because these are two players. Look, if they're in uniform, if they're happy, if they're attacking the quarterback, hell yeah, Cincinnati could be a Super Bowl winner this year.
I have an 8-year-old, and I would never try to talk to her about default language and contracts. So I will, I will just say they are at odds. They are at odds over 8 words about language about a year down the line. And again, everybody's eyes gloss over at this. They're at odds over language that essentially are in other contracts across the league with first rounders, but the Bengals have not used it before. It's different than Amarius Mims, who was a similar pick last year. So Shamar Stewart's side is saying, no, we're not going to be the guinea pig and be the first people that you are doing this language with. And the Bengals are saying we're offering you the standard language that exists with other teams in the league. The Bengals operate differently. This is a symptom of the way they have battled over other contracts where agents come in, even if it's something as simple as a slotted first round pick, and they want to fight. And they see a fight and are willing to pick it because they feel like they have to. Both sides are being dumb here. Let's just be clear about that. Both sides are being very dumb here because this is hurting the kid. It's like, it's like the adults in the room ruining the kid's baseball game. I mean, this should be about Shamar Stewart. This is absolutely immaterial. It's so small. And the digging in by both sides to, you know, kill so much hope for this guy's rookie year, a guy who already needed as much help as he can get as a kind of more of a raw prospect coming in. It's unfortunate for Shamar. And Shamar's got to be sitting there saying, like, is this really how I want to start my NFL career? Is this really what I want it to be like? Over stuff that if things go totally sideways in a couple of years, I get it. Fight for your own. These players have to do that. Both sides someone needs to grow up and realize this is terrible for Shamar Stewart. Maybe they will before camp starts. People don't talk. Mims actually signed on July 22nd last year, and his language was different from the year before, from Miles Murphy the year before. So that was just under the radar. But Stewart decided not to sign the practice waiver back in the offseason camp, so people were focusing on it. Whereas every other player always signs the practice waiver, but they didn't want to do that. So that's that. I think it gets fixed. Like I don't see this being something that goes on very long. I think they get it figured out. Who knows? I'm over it. Like I'm over. Like it's clear both sides are being silly. So be done with this. Like somebody needs to grow up. Hopefully one of these two sides do for Shamar's sake. Hendrickson feels like something that's not going away anytime soon. I mean, they need him. They're not going to trade him. They're trying to get something done. I mean, I think I understand where Trey's coming from. He feels like he's outperformed his current contract a number of times. He feels like he's operated in good faith before and it hasn't been returned. And he knows, he sees the age. He's turning 31 in December. He knows the cliff. He knows he's coming off, second, runner up for defensive player of the year, sack king, all these things. And this is my moment. This is my time to collect my last big check for my football career. And he's to the mattresses over that. The Bengals like Trey Hendrickson, but they don't, they don't Tee Higgins, Jamar Chase like Trey Hendrickson. And age is a factor. And, some of the things that have happened over last year. I mean, he had a span of the most critical 3 games last year where he was kind of non-existent. And they lost to Baltimore, to the Chargers, and to the Steelers in back-to-back weeks, despite scoring 99 points. And Hendrickson wasn't there to help, close that gap and finish those games. And that doesn't mean he's not great. He's great, but he's aging, and you wonder when that cliff's going to come. And that makes for a hard conversation when he wants to be up with some of these really big numbers. So I think inevitably they have played this game with Hendrickson in the past, and they're betting that he will want to play, that he will play, and that he'll find what number is comfortable for him. But I think like so many that have come before, and like we talked about already, this is going to drag out and it's going to go down to the end. And it probably ends up being something similar. If I was placing a bet right now, which I wouldn't want to do, it would be that it goes right up until week 1, and we're sitting here talking about it in the lead up to the season, whether Hendrickson's going to sign and play or not.
I'm just laughing because I just remember sitting at that table. You were there too with Zach Taylor back at the owners' meetings. And part of my naivety when it comes to this team, I don't forget my question. I was like, isn't it a relief to get these receiver deals done, to go into a training camp, go into a season, feeling good about yourself, not having distractions? And I'm paraphrasing his answer, but he in so many words said, well, you never know what's going to come up. And he probably feeling this Trey Hendrickson thing was going to linger and linger and linger.
Yeah, I'll say this. I do think it's light years better than it was last year. I think there was a recognition of how the distractions and all the off-field stuff really hurt chemistry and the vibe and the whole thing last year, and played a big role in them not being what they needed to be. I think the signing of Jamar and T really had a positive effect on everybody being on board inside of that building. Trey has fought about his contract every single year. This is the Trey Hendrickson experience for his teammates. So they're just used to it. You know, Trey's unhappy about his contract and he's going to get a lot of sacks. That's been the Trey Hendrickson story since he's been here. And so I don't. I think the locker room and everything that you were asking about then, and that Zach was kind of talking about then, I do think is significantly better right now. I think they're in a good place. I think they have an extreme emphasis on understanding their problem starting fast and are really dedicated to doing it. They are changing around a bunch of ways that they approach the preseason and camp. They're changing the times of practices. They're changing how many are open to the public. They're changing the things they do there. They are playing players in the preseason games they haven't really done before. That includes Burrow. They're talking about multiple games of starters playing. This is a 180-degree shift from what Zach Taylor has ever done in his strategy has been here, with an understanding of the importance of not letting this slow start thing that has really been here throughout his tenure be another reason why they don't make it. So and their recognition was that the distractions were a part of that equation, and the receivers when you're young those three guys, when they're all on board and they're all signed and they're all happy, that is really, I think, what filters down to the entire team, because they are so much the face of the organization at this point. I think that's in a pretty good place along with them.
Totally agree. And if you're Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, if you're Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, there isn't a team you fear more than Cincinnati. You know, even though they didn't make playoffs the last 2 years. I mean, as long as those three are in place, they can drop 50 on you any given day. So that's why I'm looking at the list of quarterbacks that this defense faced last year. I'm sure you've rattled this off too, Paul. Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, Gardner Minshew, Desmond Ridder, Dorian Thompson-Robinson 2 times, Mason Rudolph, Cooper Rush, Will Levis, Andy Dalton, and Russell Wilson twice. And the defense still had the struggles they had last year. And now you have the Trey Hendrickson unknown on top of that. I get the urge to be like, oh my God, like, is it going to be even worse on defense?
Yeah.
But we've hit on it. All of these little things add up. I mean, Al Golden, the emphasis on taking the ball away, tackling. You had the line of the offseason when it comes to Cincinnati. Let's not tackle like ass, right?
Yeah.
There's little things that you can do
Yeah.
to tackle fundamentals. I don't know. I mean, call me old fashioned. I feel like you can still improve as a defense, even if your premier signings on that side of the ball are like TJ Slayton and Oren Burks, right? Like, and they weren't able to do much of anything over there, but they can get better. And you don't have to be this elite unit. Be a middle of the pack unit, and you might be in Santa Clara.
Yeah, no doubt. I think their goal probably they wouldn't say out loud is like, man, if this defense could finish 16th, wouldn't that be great? I think that's kind of the idea. Here's the thing. This is not about them. The move from Lou Anarumo, which it had gone stale, it had gone sour. Like everything about that was over. And I think if you truth serumed them, I bet they would say maybe they should have moved on from Lou after 23. That kind of got bogged down in the Burrow injury at the time and lost, but they were so bad and things were really sliding the wrong way. They had this grasping at straws of signing Von Bell and bringing back guys that were older that they knew better, but it was like, okay, give Lou his system guys back, because the transition from the older guys to a bunch of young players supposedly needing to they tried to replenish with all these picks. None of them were developing, and that's the disconnect. So the bringing in of Al Golden is the idea of buying into that. It wasn't never going to be about doing what they did in 21 when they microwaved the defense with a bunch of free agents and mid-tier free agents, the Mike Hiltons and the Bells and the Hendricksons and the DJ Readers of the world. Like, this is going to be a true growth, trying to replicate what the Rams have done, the Chiefs have done, go young, the Eagles, go young, pile picks in, let them develop and compete against each other. They have 9 top 100 picks on rookie deals that are in the rotation here, okay? All of them, by the way, have unknown expectations, questions. They've had roller coaster early careers because it seems like they haven't been developed. I'm not saying that the personnel department here hit 100% or 0%, but it's somewhere probably in the middle where these guys are not as bad. It just didn't connect previously. Al Golden's specialty is developing young players. They are buying into that Al Golden and what he's done in the college ranks, what he did at Notre Dame, what he did with the linebacker group when he was here, will be what helps pull this defense out, because they believe they have good young players. They believe that Cam Taylor-Britt and DJ Turner and Jordan Battle and Demetrius Knight Jr., who they just drafted, and Miles Murphy and Chris Jenkins and McKinley Jackson and all of these guys they spent high picks on, they believe that they have good players. Dax Hill, they believe in those guys, and that it's just going to simplify a system, bring in a new voice, clean slate everybody, and let's let them really shine. That is more than enough to get them to the middle of the pack of where they would need to be. And maybe it could be better if things go really well. That's the bet. That was the bet with this defense. And so it's not about big splashes, or even what Hendrickson can come back and do. This season will in so many ways be defined by those 9 guys and whether they can become quality players to re-energize that defense.
Well said, Paul Dehner Jr. Always bringing the insight, bringing the energy. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here on Substack Live. I know you've got your show to do. You've got training camp around the corner, probably getting family situated, kids running around here, there. I love the artwork behind you.
Oh yeah, they need to put some new art. We need school to start, TD, because I need some fresh artwork for back there. This is some last year's stuff. I tell them when they come home with art, it needs to be wall worthy. Don't be bringing none of that half stuff. I don't want to see, you did a drawing you didn't finish. There's like a point in the corner that has some outside the lines. No, that's not wall worthy. That goes in the bin. Okay. If you want to be on the wall, bring home the good stuff. So need to get them back in school and get them challenged in art class again, so I can start refilling the wall with some new stuff.
I've kind of used it as a good summer tactic to pull the plug on the TV and say, hey,
yeah,
no more TV. Time to get the artwork going for the podcast, and they love it.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. We're in camp season, so it's like they're at a zoo camp and at a swim camp right now. So we're trudging through. We're trudging through, but I will be pretty excited once we get back in the school routine and the football routine and all that stuff. It's right around the corner, thankfully.
Well, hey, thanks so much for hanging out, and everybody here on Substack Live taking the time. Really appreciate it. Also, be sure to share, go along with a friend, download the app, turn the notifications on. We'll be doing these Substack Live videos throughout the summer, throughout the season. Just a great way to engage and connect. Thanks so much, Paul.
See you, TD.